All right, so today I have with me an amazing guest. His name is Sim, like the SIM card. And he is with me in Bali at my brand new home, which I'm super excited about.
Beautiful home. I wish you could see the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll do a tour in another video. But Sim is quite the entrepreneur and, dare I say, an expert with crypto. He did sell the top in 2021 in November, right? That's pretty good. You can put
top-ish.
Yeah, top-ish, yeah.
55.
I didn't do as well with that, but I'm working on it. And he's just an awesome guy, and he has some of the best talks, in my opinion, about crypto, and more importantly, like what the elites are actually planning with crypto. Because I think a lot of YouTubers out there aren't actually fully aware of that. So
I think a lot of them aren't even allowed to talk about it because you get demonetized, and they're focused on viewership and followers and all those things. You know how we've done it. We didn't care about all those things. We actually hit a lot of the talks, so that allowed us to speak about a lot of those things.
Yeah. Okay. But my first question for you is, if you could be a superhero, what superhero would you be?
So, I mean, I always have a dual answer to that question, right? First one is like Superman, because like
that's just the basic go-to.
Yeah, if I can like fly and I can like lift planets and things, okay, hey, that's kind of the de facto way of doing it. But realistically, other than Superman, I would be Iron Man.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I can see that.
Because he builds technology, but he's still a guy. Right? So I think that kind of enlivens me more. And he's really funny and zesty, right? So that's what I do.
Yeah, I like it. Down to earth and superhero. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? He's a guy, he's vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I like about you, because you're at least you portray yourself as being very successful, but you're also like very down to earth as well.
I'm just a man.
You're just a guy. So.
Yeah, like guys, trying to show yourself as more successful than you are is usually a sign of somebody suffering in some area. Yeah. Right? I'm just a guy like everybody else. I've been here for longer in the crypto space than a lot of people, but other than that, we're all just living this life, trying to go through the human experience. Right?
Yeah. We all got problems that we're dealing with, and we're all humans.
We got 99 problems, and life is one.
Yeah. All right. So, what is your big vision? Like, what is what you really want to create, like in this life? Like, what is your mission?
I mean, my singular end point of my life is to build systems that maintain the divinity of children. Because I feel like I know that children are in a divine state, at least up until the age of 7. And the world is built in a way that takes that from them, or covers it up with a bunch of BS from the world. So my goal is to create a world where children can exist in a state where their divinity is maintained through adulthood. And that level of spirit in the world will create a beautiful world. Now, creating that world is a very complex process. So my vision is that we change the way money works, where people are not living and working for money. We build systems that allow value to be added to people's lives, and then some of that value is put into, let's say, a pot that funds society, that provides food, shelter, rentable cars, all the things necessary to take the weight of money off of people's shoulders, and then those people are left to then use their creativity and heart to create a better world and create new ways of adding value. So I know that sounds complicated, but that's my vision.
Can we get an amen to that?
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah! That was brilliant. I am on board with that. Absolutely. Because my mission is to basically the same thing, but the way I think about it is to help people get out of fear and scarcity and into love and abundance. Because it's the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? If we're in survival all the time, we can't raise, past that.
And that's why we're friends, because we're on the same frequency.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's many people doing it from many different angles, and it's going to take all of us.
Yeah.
Crazy enough to think that we're actually going to change the system. And I'm doing it from the technology side. You're doing it from the working with people side. Everybody is playing their own role in the process, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. For some reason, this just came to my mind. Plant medicine.
Oh, of course. Like I in my life, I discovered mushrooms at 12.
Oh, damn.
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they instantly told me, this reality isn't
right.
everything. There's a reality beyond reality, right?
Yep.
And then I've guided 144 newbies who had never taken plant medicine before. And I've taken hundreds of people, probably about 500-ish people, on plant medicine journeys in the Canadian mountains and other places. And that is one of the ways that I am manifesting this world. Because if you find the people who are in this matrix and are waking up to something being wrong, but they can't find the door, you know, they're the seekers who are looking for the door.
Yeah.
I feel like that, you know, in the Matrix, there's the guy with the keys, the key maker, right? I feel like that guy where it's like, hey, you just bring them to the door, open the door, and then, you know, let them experience the oneness. And then they go back and change the world however they like. And, you know, it's a beautiful thing. So plant medicine, absolutely, man.
Yes. Okay, we're going to do plant medicine at some point.
It's funny you're saying that because tonight I'm sitting in an ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, okay. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
That's going to be fun.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, we can discuss more of that. Okay. All right. So, we went deep. That's good.
We're just getting started.
That's good. Should we even talk about crypto? Or
no, let's just go down this rabbit hole.
Let's just do this one. I mean, I could tell you about some plant medicine journeys I had. That's another podcast.
Yeah, we're going to do a whole podcast.
That's another podcast.
So we're starting a new podcast. It's called Rabbit Hole. Rabbit, WHOLE.
Oh, yeah.
Where we're going to bring on people and talk about their experiences on plant medicine. Plant medicine, if you did it through meditation, near-death experiences, all the ways that you've traveled down the rabbit hole. So I'd love for you to join on that, and I'd love to hear all the stories.
Absolutely. All right, let's do that.
Yeah.
So you had an experience on a mountain, right, before you came to Bali? And that's what brought you here?
Speaking of plant medicine.
Yeah.
I was in Bali. I was building a company and spent 5 years doing it. But I would always go to the mountains to get guidance.
Yeah.
And November of 2019, I went to the mountains and took some mushrooms. And they said, sell everything right now and leave to Bali right now. And I'd spent 5 years building this company that was like my life's work. And I was about to finalize it and get a big payout out of it. And I had the choice. Do I listen to the plant medicine and leave my entire life?
Which was probably your intuition as well.
Oh, 100%.
Speaking through you, yeah.
100%. Like, I've always trusted them more than I've trusted anything else. Because they've never guided me wrong.
They're freaking brilliant.
And up until then, for 15 years, they were saying, now's not the time. Stay here.
For real?
Yeah. And now, you know, I'm in Canada, minus 30 degrees,
Freezing.
Miserable.
Oh.
Not miserable, but like, you know.
Nice people. Everyone's nice there.
Everybody's a sweetheart. Canada's amazing. It's just, you know, the experience. I went from California to Canada. So the experience isn't what California experienced. Well, my point is, they said stay, don't leave, for 15 years.
Wow, really?
November of 2019, they're like, now's the time, GTFO.
Huh.
And I was like, okay, I guess you know what you're talking about. So I sold everything and booked my flight. I sold everything. And then I heard that there's this virus going on in China. I heard about it in like December.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Right? And I was like, okay, I've been kind of waiting for something to happen. Let's see what happens. And then I booked my flight in January. And then I heard that China shut down 7 ports. And I know what the shutting down of those 7 ports means. Even a week of those ports being off means ripples go out through the supply chain. As soon as they shut it down, I was like, okay, boom, started selling everything and just started giving everything away to people.
Yeah.
And then February 24th, landed in Bali. And March is when the lockdown started. So Spirit brought me here 6 days before
we sold everything, my wife and I, everything in, when was that? January 2019.
Amazing.
And came to Bali.
Crushing it.
Yes, crushing it. There it is. Trust your intuition. That's point number one today. And follow it. All right. Well, we might as well talk about crypto.
Might as well at this point. You know,
it's crypto podcast. So
yeah.
All right. So how? There's a lot going on this year with regulations.
Yes.
Yeah. I just made a video about that. How can we prepare for these, crazy waters that we're heading into? maybe a tsunami at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a tsunami, but you have to remember on the vast scale of life, tsunamis are a Tuesday in the ocean, right? So let's always keep that in perspective. That what's going on right now, on the positive side of things, is the adoption of crypto, right? Because what everybody wants is like that next 100x pump.
Yeah.
If you're here for the next 100x pump, you're going to lose all your money. That's just one thing I want
Maybe
to
that's
highlight.
what I should call the podcast today.
100x pump, yeah. How to 100x pump your crypto. But,
Or no, if you expected 100x, you're going to lose all your money.
yeah, because 100x would be a clickbaity title, right? But my point is, if everybody's here waiting for that next amount of liquidity to flow into this space, right? And that's not going to happen from the retail people, because the most of the money in the world is owned by institutions, is owned by sovereign wealth funds, is then owned by private individuals. Everybody thinks the private individuals have the most amount of money. Billionaires do not have the most amount of money at all. Governments and beyond government institutions have the most amount of money. The World Bank, the Federal Reserve,
That's true.
right? Sovereign wealth funds. Sheikhs have more money,
What's that?
like Dubai sheikhs,
Okay.
like sheiks.
Yeah.
I like sheikhs.
Milkshakes or what?
Sheikhs
Are
have
we
more
talking
money. But my point is, in order for them to pull out their money and put it into this space, they need regulations. So this has been my journey.
Yeah, right.
We created a bunch of these projects. We tokenized mines and we tokenized farms and we tokenized commodity supply chains, massive projects. And then I had the opportunity to go speak to the people who run the sovereign wealth funds, the VCs, the big organizations, and as soon as the banks, and as soon as I would present it to them, they'd go, "Wow, this is fantastic." I'm like, "Okay, are you going to invest?" They're like, "We literally can't."
Oh, okay.
And I was like, "What's the problem?" They said, "We are funds, and our funds are not allowed to custody digital assets yet because of
Right.
regulations.
Right.
Our investors will not enter anywhere where there's no regulations. We don't understand the space well enough because not enough people are entering it, so on and so forth." So the regulations that are going to be coming out now they're going to lay the groundwork for hundreds of trillions of dollars to flow into this space within the next 15 years. And if you're like, "Sim, hundreds of trillions of dollars, really? There's $150 trillion of money in the world and you're telling me 100? Yes, because they're printing money to infinity. Remember that.
Oh.
Hundreds of trillions of dollars is going to become like hundreds of billions of dollars, right? Pretty soon. But that point being aside, even in today's value, there's about $100 trillion of value that is going to flow on the blockchain. And this is, don't just take it from me. Listen to Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, that has confirmed that he said tokenization of assets is the future of crypto. And tokenization of assets means every single asset class we have, real estate, stocks, bonds, derivatives, all of them will run on the blockchain because it's just more efficient.
Okay.
I look at it like that, right?
Yeah.
The crypto heads are looking at it like, "Oh, they're going to take away our freedom." Well, it's a technology called blockchain.
That's true.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
It runs on the net or the web. Nets and webs don't give you freedom. Blocks and chains don't give you freedom. Okay? The trick was always there. So the plan was always to take away people's freedom. If we think that the next financial system is going to be created, and it's going to be created in a way that gives the individual the most amount of power and allows us to be completely autonomous and free, I wish the world worked like that, but I know that's not how it works.
Let's look at the history of the world.
Right? So my point is, we have to play the game the way the world is developing, not how we wish it to be.
Right.
These regulations are the future of money flowing into the space, and we have to operate within them. They're gonna be great. If you're entering the space early and you want to make money, regulations is what you should want. Now the problem is everybody enters the space and they buy dog ear coins and all these shit coins that don't do anything to get rich.
Oh yeah.
90% of those are gonna die.
Yeah.
90% of the space is gonna die because it can't meet regulations. Out of the 10% that survives, 90% out of the 10% that survives that are solid projects, just by law of statistics of startups, 90% of startups always die.
Right.
So that means out of even the 10% that survives, 9% are going to die eventually, and 1% are going to make the base layer of the future of humanity. And the real growth of crypto hasn't even started. So all of the projects that are going to be here for the next 50 to 100 years, many of them haven't even been invented yet. They'll be invented after the regulations come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Nice. All right. So you probably just blew some minds there, but nice. So do you think Bitcoin, like why do you think Bitcoin was created? Like, is this kind of an on-ramp to kind of get people interested in crypto before they start the real regulations, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't like this answer,
Right.
but this is again my opinion. Okay?
Right.
The SHA 256 protocol that Bitcoin runs on, we know was created by the CIA. That's just that's just a fact.
There it is.
Okay. There's people who worked with Satoshi that we know of. For example, the guy
For
who's the guy he's one of the execs from Ripple. Please look it up.
Oh
we,
yeah.
we know he
know
worked
who
with
you're talking
Satoshi. You know.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But guess what? Before that, he worked for the CIA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that the new form of money gets created and released without the blessing of the powers that be? Okay, so
Right.
as far as I can understand, I think it was created by the powers that be, whoever that is, you know, to create the base, to create the momentum of the new world order starting, right?
Right.
As the old world order collapses, the new world order will be
So you
based
have
on
an
this.
on-ramp.
To have an on-ramp.
Yeah.
But even more than that, it's a Trojan horse. It's a Trojan horse.
People are not going to want to hear this.
It's a Trojan horse. In the same way that internet was supposed to give us freedom, right? And it was free for a very long period of time.
You can use it for freedom.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, we're sitting here. We've gained this
Right.
freedom. We're speaking. It has
Right.
given so many people freedom.
Yeah.
But the good old days of the internet was like freedom.
Yeah.
Napster.
Yeah.
Torrents, all this stuff, right? We got to do whatever we want. But what we did is we brought it into our homes and gave it to our children. And by the time we gave it to our children, that's when they put the noose around it and they took control of the whole process. So it was built to give us freedom. It is decentralized. Internet is the first decentralized technology for us. And it does give people freedom, but for a lot of people, it became the prison.
Yeah.
In the same way, blockchain is going to be used, like we're going to use blockchain, we're going to use the blocks to build structures, and we're going to use chains to give community strength, right? But there's other people who are not going to understand this process, and they're going to bring it home and give it to their kids, and it's going to become the modality of slavery. And so
Right.
that's where these regulations are going to be enslaving for some people and freeing for some people. It just depends on how you use it.
So yeah, exactly. Okay. So choose your adventure, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's our free will, you know. But let's become aware of like what the potential plan is.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I don't like being one side or the other.
Yeah.
I believe in freedom. I'm literally using this technology to build systems that give freedom to the most marginalized people in the world.
Yeah.
The farmers who don't get paid enough. We're tokenizing their farm productivity in a way that the wealthy have to feed them properly and compensate them fairly. And it's coded into the code that the investor has to pay the farmer a very good price, so that the investor can make some money, right? So it gives freedom to the farmer. We're tokenizing mines in a way so that the miner who mines at the very front end can actually prosper from the process, right? So yes, we're using this technology to create freedom. But I'm also I know that there's a lot of people working on making sure blockchain blocks you and chains you,
Right. Right.
especially
Right.
with regulations.
I look at it as like a tool, like a neutral tool, like
Yeah.
like a hammer. You can like use it to build a house, or you can like kill yourself with it. You know.
Right?
Yeah. So let's use it for good.
Yeah, let's build some houses with it. Because if they're giving you blocks, let's build some houses with it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think Bitcoin is a good investment, or is that kind of
I mean, it's not a bad investment.
right?
When you look at the assets, the whole lifetime of Bitcoin, you compare it to every single other asset,
Right.
gold, stocks, whatever you want, and look at the returns on it, annualized, it crushes everything.
Yeah.
It is the base layer of, not the base layer, but it's one of the technologies that is going to be there in the future that institutions are going to want. So yeah, it's a better investment than, as far as I'm concerned, it's a better investment than real estate, right? Because I'm investing in the future, the metaverse-based future, where living in a place becomes less important than living in the digital world. So money in the digital world becomes more important. Now, is it my favorite? Absolutely not.
Right.
Because one thing I cued into a long time ago is if they tell you to go left, always go right. Or at least don't go left.
Yeah.
Okay? If they tell you to go left, go right, unless they expect that you're always going to go right. In which case, go at a 77 degree angle. Okay? And I'll explain that. Right now, everybody is being told, buy Bitcoin and HODL. Buy Bitcoin and HODL. And I'm like, wait a minute. All of retail is being told, buy Bitcoin and HODL. When you really look at the Bitcoin price, nobody thinks about this part, but this is going to blow some minds. Bitcoin is limited, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's why it's valuable, because it's limited. But it's being bought with something called USDT Tether, which is printed into existence and printed out of thin air into existence, backed by nothing, and has an unlimited supply. So that's like me telling you, hey, gold is very valuable, right? It's limited. That's why it's valuable. But I can just like take pieces of paper from my house and I can go buy it.
Okay.
And I can raise the price of it because I'm buying shit tons of it.
Oh.
So then technically the price of gold would be a fake price supported by fake pieces of paper. And when that scam comes true, when Tether collapses, the price of Bitcoin is going to correct to a more fair value. And I think in that process, a lot of people are going to get hurt. A lot of people are going to get hurt.
Wow. Yeah, I could see that possibility. And so the blockchain backer, he was last year he was predicting that Bitcoin could go down to 2K just based on his analysis.
It could.
Yeah, I could see that possibility.
I would be so happy if that happened.
Buy that shit up. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Discounts.
Exactly. Right.
Discounts. You're telling me something as valuable as Bitcoin comes back down to 2K.
Yeah.
I can buy one Bitcoin for 2K.
Because it's going to go to 100K at least after that.
I mean, 2K is such a deal.
Yeah.
If I told you right now that you could have bought Bitcoin when it was 2K in 2014,
yeah,
you would jump out for the opportunity. So now I'm telling you today you can buy it for 2K. Yeah. But the problem is when that happens, people's psychology shifts, right?
Oh, it's going to be terrifying. Oh, it's so terrifying.
It happens.
You're going to be like, this is the death of Bitcoin. Like,
it's always the case.
It's been a scam the whole time.
It's because it happens in confluence with other events in the world.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
The other events in the world scare the shit out of people. Yeah. Right? Let's imagine that there are cyber attacks on the financial system, which after the cyber attacks happen, this will seem like a premonition, but it's obvious that that's going to happen.
They already told us that they had a whole thing.
They're running exercises on it. I literally attended the exercise that the World Economic
Polygon?
Forum. Exactly.
Oh, you attended that?
Yeah. I mean, remotely. It's not like I was hacking this thing. You know, anybody could join it. Yeah. But let's say when that happens, that the attack on the financial system freezes the banking system, and you know there's this panic, and Bitcoin falls off of a cliff. At that point, faith in the financial system is going to be so low that when you tell people go buy this like risky thing, they're going to be like, man, I don't even trust the dollars in my bank account. You're telling me to go buy this thing, I'll never touch it.
Yeah, never.
Right? Whereas those of us who've been on this vibe, meditating in a corner, as soon as they go cyber attacks on the financial system, you go, well, that's great. I've been expecting that one.
We've been waiting for this.
And they're like, the banking system shut down, you can't move your money. You're like, well, fantastic. I actually turned it into stable coins and I have a self-custody. Mm-hmm. Oh, exchanges are shut down. Well, that's okay. I have decentralized exchanges I can buy on. So maintaining a state of peace and calm during those times will allow us to buy Bitcoin for 2K.
Right. Because you have to be in the right mental state. Because
that's everything.
It's still going to be terrifying, I'm sure.
I mean, it is. So here's how it goes, right? It's terrifying. Yeah. So what you do is you go over here and you get terrified, okay, in a corner. And like sit on your couch and get terrified. Yeah. Then breathe. Then meditate. And then remember that every terrifying thing that's ever happened to you in your entire life made you who you are today. Made us who we are. We're stronger because of the things that happened to us. Okay. So panic attack, and then you go, well, actually, this is good. I just changed my perspective, and this is a great thing that's happening. And then come back with reason and logic and have your strategy and follow your strategy and say, okay, well, my strategy, the non-panicked me had determined that this is how I want to play this game. So I'm just going to follow through on my strategy.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And that's why you need a solid strategy ahead of time. Yeah. So you know what to do when you're like freaking out and it's like hard to breathe.
Exactly.
And,
because then you can listen to you when you were calm. You know, you look at it and you go, oh yeah, calm me said, buy at 2K. Panic me saying run for the hills, everything's collapsing. Calm me said buy a 2K. I'm gonna listen to calm.
Yeah.
Logical.
Nice. Okay, so and a little bit of strategy we could go over is like have on ramps and off ramps.
Oh yeah, I mean there's so many pieces to it, right? Like first step is know thyself.
Yeah.
Pretty sure there's a book somewhere that says that.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty popular book. It's been printed quite a bit. Look it up. I can't remember the name. It's in every single drawer in every single hotel. It says know thyself. And that is such an important thing because that inner reflection will help you understand who am I, right? Like let's imagine some scenarios. Let's say I'm an anxious person that has anxiety and everything makes me anxious. Well, then I shouldn't be taking my life savings and putting it into this risky space because I won't be able to sleep and I'll panic and I won't be able to last the years required for me to actually manifest the returns that I would want to get out of the space. So then I would adjust my plan accordingly. Let's say I'm somebody like you who's just like super zen and calm. Like sometimes I just look at you, I'm like, I don't know if this guy can even panic.
I definitely have my moments.
You can, but you look so just zen, right? So you're not somebody who I would consider anxious, right? So your strategy is going to be different. You could maybe sleep with a higher level of risk because maybe you're an entrepreneur and you've been taking higher levels of risk and you're comfortable with risk. You can sleep well knowing, hey, I can risk my money and be there for the next 3 years. My life is good. I'm generating revenue, right? So when you start to really know who you are and you know your life and you do that self-reflection, then that's the first step before you decide what to do. Because if you don't even know who you are, how are you supposed to know what to do, right? Yeah. Once you've done that part, then you understand, okay, how much risk am I comfortable with? Everything is about risk, right? How much risk am I comfortable with? How much money do I want to risk in this space?
Right.
What is my length of time?
Like, what are you willing to lose, basically? If
I don't like that mentality.
Yeah, because then
it's like, what am I willing to lose? Well, thank you for telling the universe that you're willing to lose. Right? Yeah. How about this? Like, what am I willing to risk to get the reward that is good enough to make my life good? Yeah. Right? Like, a simple calculation is, if you are here for the next 10 years, a 10x on a lot of these things is like the worst case scenario. Right? Yeah. The worst case scenario within the next 10 years. Definitely. Okay, so that means if you risk just 10% of your net worth, within 10 years, you would make back your entire net worth. That makes sense, right? Okay. So, but if I took a 10% risk and I did lose it, okay. My downside is 10% of my net worth going down, which is I'll make it back in 30 seconds. My upside is my entire net worth being made back. Okay. I don't even like the word net worth because it's like your worth is not how much money you have. Yeah. It's such a stupid idea, but I'm just using it as a thing. Well, my point is, okay, you figured out how much risk you can take. You figured out how much money you're willing to risk. Not lose, how much money you're willing to risk that fulfills your goals. You figure out what goals you have in life. What is it that you want to achieve? If your goals are, I want to get rich and make money, do not enter this space. Right. You're going to get, welcome to the club, love. Okay? There's millions of people running in wanting to make money and all they do is lose money. If your goals are like, I want to build systems that change the world, I want to get my mom a house so that she can live a good life, I want to feed my children, you have some like passionate shit that is your purpose, then when the turbulence comes, you won't get shaken. You will know you're North Star, and when they're like, regulations, everything's collapsing, you're like, listen, you're going to have to kill me, but I'm going to feed my kids. Yeah. Then you really have to understand, how long am I playing this game for? Okay. Right? Because it's like, okay, maybe you're somebody who's like, I'm okay with high risk. I'm going to risk 50% of my money. Right? Well, for how long? You're on a roller coaster. Are you willing to ride this roller coaster for 6 months? Which is, in my humble opinion, idiotic. Right. If you're not ready to ride for anything more than 3 years, I don't like entering the space like that. Because 3 to 4 years is the kind of timeline that really gives you the time to actually ride the big waves, right? Yeah. Otherwise, like, sometimes these things are down for a year, 2 years. It already has been. Right? Yeah. But okay, it's down for 2 years. And then what? And then it goes to freaking crazy numbers. And then it goes down again, right? So you have to know the timeline that you're doing it on. Then we get to the point of the actual strategy, right? Like, okay, which on ramps do I use? Like on ramps are exchanges where I can take my money from the bank and put it in. Well, what a lot of people don't figure out is how do I take my money out and put it back in
and buy stuff with it? Yeah,
right. Which jurisdictions am I in? Which cryptos am I going to buy? Everybody always thinks this is the most important point. This is such a tiny little point in the bigger picture of things. Which cryptos am I going to buy? How am I going to buy them? When am I going to buy them? How am I going to hold them? Where am I going to hold them? How am I going to sell them? When am I going to sell them? What metrics or targets do I use to sell them? What strategies do I have to sell it in different ways? You know, like we focus on 3 to 4 different profit-taking strategies, which run in parallel, right? Okay. Well, I sold them. What about taxes? Right? Then what do I do with the money? How do I sustain it? How do I make sure I don't lose all my money? Okay. Then how do I learn about these places? So it's a flow process which starts with knowing yourself. This is the longest answer to a question you'll ever hear.
Yeah. This is important. Strategy is important.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so I definitely want to talk with you about farm scent and harvest.
5 harvest dough.
5 harvest dough, and then the copper.
Yeah.
Mine. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to? Do you want me to just give you an overview?
So the CEO of BlackRock said that that commodities or no, he said everything's going to be
Tokenization of assets.
tokenized. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the wave that's coming up at some point by 2025 most likely is the tokenization of real world assets. Okay, up until now we've had these coins and everybody just wants these coins.
We can't see them. They're just
in the ether. And then the question always comes up, why does everybody want these coins?
Right.
And the best answer I could give them, which is the truth, is we have set up computers across the world that are not owned by companies, that are set up by many, many people. And those people are running those computers, and those computers do stuff. Okay? Somebody's paying for the computers, and the heat, and the electricity, and the cooling, and everything to run those computers. And because those computers do stuff, they do something valuable, just like computers do valuable stuff in the internet. We need to pay them for running those computers, and the way we pay them is these coins. Okay, so that's the best explanation. Then you think, well, okay, if you have these coins and you pay these people, what do those computers do that's so valuable that you're going to pay them in real money? And the answer is most of those computers run apps. They're called dApps, decentralized apps, but most of those computers run apps. Now you can imagine how much value apps have added in the world we live in.
Yeah.
Now imagine the future of how many apps are going to come out and what stuff they're going to do. Right? That's why these things are valuable. But when you really drill down, you go, okay, I guess that makes sense. But what do they do today? How many apps are running today? How many people use them today? How much value are they adding to people's lives today? And the answer is like this much.
A little bit.
Like a
tiny bit.
Teensy weensy amount, right? Because value is improving somebody's life. Value as a concept is when you do something to make somebody's life better, and hopefully you do it in a way that they pay you, right? That's what we do. We work, we do things to improve somebody's life, and it's so valuable to them that they pay you in the form of money, and which they've earned by improving somebody else's life, right? So when you look at the stuff today, it actually doesn't improve people's lives in its form today. Once it's adopted globally and it starts to run at full capacity, it'll change the world. But today it's like, okay, well, monkey face
We're
photos.
just looking at the screen.
Sure, right? The future is we're going to take all the things that are actually valuable to people in this reality, in this physical plane, and tokenize them. Basically turn them into coins. So what's valuable to people? Shelter, real estate is very valuable, food,
water,
farms, water is really valuable. Somebody's going to tokenize water, which I'm looking forward to seeing how somebody tokenizes water. Community is valuable.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're doing right now. We have tokenized communities. That's effectively what coins are, right? Security is valuable.
Right.
The basic needs, right? Commodities are valuable.
Right.
Because you need it to build the world. You've got to dig stuff out of the ground. That's what BlackRock's CEO has said. In the middle of a bear market, he's like, look, everything is high. tokenization of securities and tokenization of assets is the future. Okay, those are the owners of the world telling us that. So that guess what's going to happen? That's what's going to happen. So I saw this wave coming years ago.
Yeah.
Right, from this value-based thinking. So what we did, not even we did, just the universe.
God did.
God, universe. I mean, whatever you want to call it. Right, spirit, source, just brought these opportunities to me, where first. People who own mines came to me and said, "Hey, we want to tokenize these mines."
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay, well, I mean, mining's pretty dirty. It's polluting the earth. That's not really my jam. But what is it that you're doing different?" And they said, "Lucky for you, we are mining in a way where we're not. Mining is blow up a whole mountain, ruin nature, dig a scar into the earth, put all of this 90% dirt and 10% actual valuable stuff onto trucks." Take it to a place, dump a shit ton of chemicals on it to pull out the stuff you need, and now take this chemical soup and dump it into the rivers or something, right? That's how mining has been for a long period of time. Well, what we're doing now is, instead of blowing up a whole mountain, you dig a hole in the side of a mountain, because now we have technology which allows us to know exactly where the stuff is, and the stuff runs in veins. The ore runs in veins. It's not the whole mountain, right? Dig a hole from the side. Ancient way of doing it, and then find the vein, and then just dig out the vein, make tunnels of the veins. So when you look at the mountain, you're like, where's the mine? Like, it's inside the mountain, and there's a few entrances, but nature is maintained. Oh. You're digging out the veins, so you're not taking 90% dirt, you're actually taking higher concentrations of the actual ore, and then you process it with the government or other processors that don't dump chemicals into the water table, because it's dumb. Like, those chemicals are really expensive, so they recycle the chemicals. So my point is, it's a new way of mining. What we did is we realized, okay, even if you take the mining part of it, put it to the side, it's unfair that the wealth from mining all goes to a stock exchange. So the mine is in Chile, right? But it's owned by a company in the US, and then it's listed on a stock exchange in New York, where only the wealthy can buy it. So the wealth from this guy digging it out in Chile can't be accessed by him on the front, can't be accessed by the Chileans. It's all owned by a few wealthy guys. Well, what we did is we said, no, we're going to turn this, instead of listing it on a stock exchange, we're going to turn it into tokens. Anybody can buy those tokens across the world. Even the guy mining can buy $1 worth of this token. Whoever holds these tokens will get paid the dividends that come out from the mines. Mines make money. Some of that money goes to you as a token holder, and you're a token holder because you believe in the vision of doing mining in a better way, right? So this is creating a system which creates equanimity as far as who can access the wealth, and everybody can prosper in the process. It creates a better world because we're going to dig out stuff forever. It just digs it out in a better way, and it's the new way of doing it. So that's the idea of tokenization. You take mines and you turn them into a token that pays people to hold the tokens. Right? Now, the same thing, then as I was doing this, a friend of ours, he came to me and he was like, hey, I figured out how to tokenize farm productivity. So his idea is, and this idea is already real and it's working, his idea is that farmers, first of all, the problem is farmers here in Indonesia and across the world are kept in debt by loan sharks. Because farmers make money when there's a harvest, and then for the rest of the time they don't have money. So what they do is they buy everything they can, and they set up their life. But then to fund the next harvest, usually they have to ask for a loan from this loan shark, and the loan shark gives them a loan at like 30%, 40% interest rates. So then obviously the farmer makes money the next harvest, but he's still kept in debt. He gets another loan. Right? So what we did is we are taking the farm land and we're turning it into an NFT. The ownership of the land stays with the farmer. We don't give the ownership to anybody because the land belongs to the farmer. We take the productivity of that land and we turn it into an NFT. So basically an investor buys this NFT and says, here's $5,000. And we take that entire $5,000 without charging a single penny, and we buy seed and fertilizer and all the things necessary for the farmer to fund his harvest. So the farmer doesn't have debt. The farmer then promises 45% of the profits of the next cycle to the investor who funded his harvest. And it's all done through an NFT. So the investor buys an NFT.
It's all automatic, or
Basically,
yeah.
I mean, the shipping of the fertilizer and stuff is not automatic. But this way, the farmer stays out of debt. He's happy to share his profits because earlier he was going to have to give it to the loan shark who kept him in debt. Now he has no debt, and he's happy to share his profits. And it allows him to access global markets and global investment, which he normally couldn't access.
Wow.
Right? Then another friend of ours that came along, and he was like, hey, I've created a system where I can ship food and commodities to the Middle East, and it's all done on the blockchain. So he's tokenized the commodity supply chain. So we're like, wait, how does that work? He's saying, he said the Middle East doesn't produce its own food. They're having food security issues. There's a lot of people that are going to go hungry if they don't figure it out. So he figured it out with Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar is still coming online, and Kuwait. And he basically the idea is when there's production that happens in a country, let's say Indonesia, rice comes online, it pops up in an app, okay, and then buyers in the Middle East can buy it from the app. The transaction gets done on the blockchain. We handle the entire supply chain. We take it from the farmer. We make sure the farmer gets compensated fairly instead of what the loan sharks and the middlemen are paying him. We pay them good prices.
Who is we? Is it a company or?
Yeah, it's FarmSense. So this is FarmSense.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I should say the names, by the way. The mines.
We the people.
Yeah, this is how much we don't like to just advertise things. But the mines are a project called Real Earth Elements.
Okay.
The farm commodity, the farm productivity tokenization is a project called 5 Harvest 0, all one word. And this project, the commodity supply chain project, is called FarmSent, right? So, yeah, this system allows any farmer from anywhere across the world to just have an app with when they have any kind of production, they put it into the app, and then they can sell it in Dubai, which a farmer from Indonesia gets like 5 times, 10 times the prices that they would get in Indonesia because they sell it in Dubai.
Whoa.
But then somebody has to handle that entire shipping process and all this stuff, and that's where we come in.
Oh, wow.
So now when you connect 5 Harvest O, which is the farm productivity business, tokenization, and then you connect it with FarmSent, farmers produce it, farmers put it into FarmSent, ship it to Dubai. Dubai pays them 5 times what they would normally get paid, which means the investor gets paid 5 times what they would have been paid. Everybody's super happy, and it's all coded into the system.
Whoa.
Right? So these are ways of taking real world value and bringing it into this space. Right?
Yeah.
And that's way different than
Doggy coin.
doggy or coin. What does it do? It's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my money into a joke.
Shib. Yeah. Okay. I like this. I like it.
That was a lot of doggy.
You like to talk. It's all good.
I went to the sauna before this, so I'm like sweating my ass off. So, I feel like he's nervous. He's really wiping a lot of sweat. So,
all right. Wow. Well, I'm excited about that.
It's going to be really fun. It's already really fun. And like,
Yeah.
I just came back from a trip, right? And it really changed my life.
Wow.
I went to Java, which is the island here in Indonesia, because what we realized is in order for us to make this whole process work, we have to ship the stuff ourselves. We have to set up the commodity supply chains, right? So then what we did is we put a decent bit of money into setting up this supply chain where we're buying the commodities from the farmers and we're getting it to people who want to buy it, right? To have that supply chain part of it controlled. But what we're doing right now is we're buying rice from farmers and we're providing it to government organizations that allow the price of rice to be kept stable. So basically villages and government workers who can't afford to pay high prices for rice, we are basically buying it from the farmers at a good price and then giving it to them at a good price so that the price gets maintained. That's one of the contracts. Another contract we have is, this one is really close to my heart, is supplying the food for government houses for the elderly, for the disabled, for orphanages, for women's homes and women's shelters. Indonesia has a really good really good infrastructure when it comes to supporting
Really?
these people who are marginalized. Yeah, it's way better
Amazing.
than the West. Way better than the
Wow.
West. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because the culture is a supporting culture, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They have to take care of each other.
Yeah.
So the framework of the country has this built in.
Wow.
But the thing is, somebody has to supply the food. So what we realized is the current process is the farmer doesn't know where to sell it. So a middleman comes along and pays the farmer the least amount of money, then sells it to another middleman who sells it to a warehouse who doesn't have enough capacity to supply a government contract. So they sell it to another middleman who can pay for the capacity, who then sells it off to these government houses. They're called panti. And what ends up happening is, one, the price is very high because the 6 people wanting to get their cut along the way.
Yeah.
Secondly, because the price is high, in order to reduce the prices, the middlemen reduce the quality of the food that's coming in. So these people who really need it get low quality food and somebody makes all the money off the top. That's the current system. What we're doing is we're just connecting the farmer directly. So we basically connecting the farmer directly to the warehouse and the warehouse to the panti. So the highest quality food reaches them and the highest amount of money reaches the farmer back.
Okay.
And this is coming out of so Five Harvest Do, the founder of Five Harvest Do, Sabdo, he created an organization called APEDI, APEDI, which is the Farmers Innovation Association of Indonesia. And this is a group of 1.7 million farmers. So we have access to 1.7 million farmers, and we just help them get the high quality food to the people who need it. And then now one of the contracts we're looking at is to fulfill the rice requirements for the national strategic rice reserves of Indonesia. Because, food security is a big issue. There's 1 million tons of rice that is necessary per month for the national strategic rice reserves of Indonesia, and we're happy to supply high quality rice to them.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I want to come on one of the trips.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Dude, it's so fun.
Wow.
It's so, and it changes your life in that you actually see that money can do good.
Right.
It isn't this thing like invested in some coin and get rich.
Yeah.
Think about this. You do not make money in investing. You take money in investing. When you invest in a coin, what you're saying is, I'm going to buy this coin, and I hope some sucker comes along and buys it for a higher price, who I can sell it off to, and I can take their money. Nobody thinks about that. So all you're doing is you're taking other people's money, and you're hoping somebody else loses money. It's a zero-sum game. Somebody has to lose money for you to make money. Okay, that's the normal way of doing it. With this way, it's like we put money in. That allows somebody to grow food. That allows somebody to eat food. Because you're funding that process, that allows you to make money. Right? So you're not taking the money. You're actually making a valuable thing that comes out of the ground. You're making value. And that is a way better way of making money.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go on one of these trips.
Yeah.
And
we just made a documentary. Sorry to cut you off. We just made a documentary about the whole trip. So it's going to be released. So you'll actually see this whole process playing out. Stuff.
Amazing. Okay. And how can people get involved?
And so one of the big things is I don't like to just have everybody get involved, because what I've realized is a lot of people will just rush in without knowing what's good for them. Right? That's why the process we went through, and the process everybody who participates in these things goes through, is having a strategy, having a plan, so you know what's good for you and what's not good for you. So if you'd like to get involved, please reach out at excellenceconsulting.co. That's the website that you can reach us out at. You can join our Telegram group through that website and reach out from there. We have contact information on there that you can get in touch with us, and we'd love to speak to you and stuff. But what I like to do is I like to speak to each person, figure out who they are, figure out their situation, figure out what's good for them, figure out what's bad for them. They may think that they may have this idea of this wonderful world where we all make money helping people, but it might not be a good idea for you to participate. And then we put them into these communities where you get selective access to these investment opportunities.
Right.
But from a place of knowing what's good for you and what's bad for you.
Okay. Right. Cool. I'm actually getting to take a quick break.
For sure.
But you had one more thing to say?
No, I also wanted to say, please, if you want to just see these things playing out, please follow us on YouTube and all the other platforms. It's called Life is More Than Crypto, is the channel. That's where you'll see all of these documentaries and talks. talks and all this stuff that'll really help shed light on these.
Okay. Awesome.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this interview with Sim. I wanted to take this moment to offer my complimentary sessions with me where you can have a conversation with me one-on-one. I'm calling them quantum alignment sessions. And what we're going to be doing is I'll help you map out your vision, your big vision of what you want to create in this life. We're going to think long-term. We're going to expand that vision. You might already have a vision, but maybe it's not as inspiring as it could be. Maybe it's not as creative as it could be. Maybe you're not really tapping into your calling, what you truly want to create. So if you're not like super excited and passionate right now about where you're headed, then let me help you align that into your truest mission and what you're here to do. Okay? So you can sign up with the link below for that session. And we can also discuss any questions you have about transitioning to this new paradigm of technology and financially and spiritually. We can also discuss the possibility of coming to Bali on a retreat to visit me, to meet with Sim, and to do some really deep inner healing work if you're interested, to raise your consciousness, to go from scarcity to abundance mindset, to fully live your most exciting, inspiring life and transition to this new paradigm of love and abundance. All right, so I'll let you get back to the interview. Thanks you for watching, and you can sign up via the link
Next,
below.
let's talk about WW3.
Is that like wrestling?
It's like WWF,
WWF, WWE,
Yeah,
WWE?
It's like hardcore wrestling.
I mean, it is wrestling. It's just wrestling between countries,
Yeah,
basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, World War III is coming.
Or it's already here.
It's already happening.
It's already happening.
It's already happening. We're in the 5th generation of war. The 5th generation of war differs from the previous generations of war because there's psychological war being played out.
Big time.
There's biological war
Yep.
playing out in your DNA in many ways. There's a technological war where TikTok is showing engineering videos in China and is showing dumb dancing, self-choking videos in the West to dumb down the kids. That's a technological war. There's an economic war going on. Russia's cut off for money. There's collapses going on. All these things, right?
Spiritual war.
Spiritual war.
Yeah.
Definitely spiritual war going on. And then there's the classic war, the bombs and guns war that's going on. If that scares you, it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Right? It is a scary thing because it's something we have not seen for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But let me shed some light on it that can really help you understand what's going on so we don't get scared. Because when you understand something, you don't fear it. What's going on today is a completely natural, normal part of history.
Right.
Today is the rainy season. It's a thunderstorm, right? But remember that rainy season is the season.
Yeah.
It follows, it's the winter, Winter follows the fall. And it's aptly named the fall. It's the fall of the old civilization.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming. Winter is here. But remember what comes after winter. Spring. Without fail, spring follows winter.
Yeah.
These times that are the most adverse times and often the most troubling and scariest times are also the most opportune times. Opportunity and adversity are the two sides of the same coin.
Right.
We want to change the world, right? Well, you know what you got to do to the old world to change it? You got to blow it up. You got to wipe the slate clean with it, right? So what's actually happening is this is just the season of war coming back. Previous one was in World War II. The one before that was in the Civil War in the U.S.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Before that was the American Revolution. So there's these seasons that come along about every 80 years. Please read the book, The Fourth Turning. It gives you a very good idea of the cyclicality of generations. Please read Ray Dalio's Changing World Order. It gives you a very good idea of how world orders change and how that flows. Please just watch the 45-minute video from Ray Dalio on YouTube called The Changing World Order. Really gives you a good highlight of how this thing is just cyclical.
Also, the astrology totally lines up with that too.
Exactly.
It's very similar astrology to World War II or whatever.
Well, because astrology is cyclical.
Yeah, exactly.
I think
It's like a clock.
the world is cyclical because
Yeah.
the universe is cyclical. Everything is seasonal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why it all lines up.
Yeah.
So then when you think about it like that, you're like, oh, this is just rainy season.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when Mercury is retrograde, right? And you're like, this is, you know, you could be sitting there like, this is shit, oh, everything's going bad. And then you remember, oh yeah, it'll end.
Yeah.
Mercury turns back around again and goes back the right way again. It just does it, did it four times last year.
Just fucks with your technology in your mind a little
You
bit.
just deal with it. You know, when winter comes, you just put on a jacket,
Yeah.
right? The ones who put on the jacket are great. The ones who don't even prepare and are crying about the winter actually have a bad time in winter. So my point is, this is just a normal part of history and society. This is just winter. This is going to lead to the best version of the world we've had yet. Because
Right.
without fail,
Yeah.
in history, these seasons have always been followed by a more improved world.
Yeah, we step up each time, yeah.
Like since from World War II until now,
Much better.
we took 80% of the people in the world out of poverty.
Mm-hmm.
More people have become prosperous than ever. I mean, this world is magical. The average person
Already, yeah.
average person lives better than kings today.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a palace.
Yeah,
that
this
you're
is
in, my friend.
unbelievable, yeah.
This is a palace.
Yeah.
So, keeping that in mind, how do you navigate? In this transition, everything we know from the old world will not make sense. Remember that. Whatever you know,
Right.
it's not going to be true. Right? Like, I'll give you an example. We knew not to put our kids in strangers' cars. Hard rule, okay? Forever. Don't put your kids in strangers' cars.
Nice.
Until somebody released an app called Uber, and then the first thing we started doing is putting our kids in strangers' cars. It just became normal. Technology came along, and now it's like, why wouldn't I put my teenager in a stranger's car? My teenager might drink and drive. It's safer for me to put it in a stranger's car who I've never met before. In that same way, the world that we're moving into is a world where the physical and the non-physical becomes the same. So the digital and the physical become the same. You visiting a digital space will feel the same as you visiting a physical space. The things from the digital will come out into the physical.
Mm-hmm.
And the things from the physical are going to the digital, like the mines and farms that we're talking about. AI and artificial intelligence will be incorporated into every corner of society. Digital ID will become
Right.
just de facto. Social credit scores will just become de facto. It's part of how the world is going. So, one, if that terrifies you, get over that terror and figure out how you're going to incorporate that into your life. I'm not saying surrender to it. You know, if you're like, I don't want any of these things, okay, well then get a farm,
Yeah.
grow your own food, pull out your own water, become 100% self-sufficient, and then you'll be free. Then you don't have to do any of this stuff. For the rest of us mortals that actually want to be able to fly on planes once in a while to go to places, you're going to have to learn how to play the game, right? So one of the things that a lot of people are doing is you become entities, right? and this sounds like I'm saying become a ghost, right? But it's like a lot of people operate as them individually. All their wealth is owned by them individually, whereas the wealthy, they operate as entities. They become companies.
Right.
They become trust funds and structures and things.
Trust babies.
Trust babies. Trust me, baby. Okay? But my point is, you taking your wealth and structuring it in a way where it's separated from you means that if you are doing some activity that's not deemed correct in this whole process, at least your assets are at an arm's length so they can operate separately. The other thing is learn how to learn the new ways. So right now AI has just been released, right? If you're somebody who wants to make money, just go into YouTube and type in how to make money with AI. And there's literally kids making millions of dollars a month using AI today. And it just released publicly in November. And they'll show you how to do it. Okay? Like one of my friends, I showed her how to write children's books. Another one, how to take those books and put them onto Kindle publishing and sell tons of them. You can become an illustrator. You can start writing SEO copy. You can there's like a million things.
Yeah.
But just learn the way to use these new technologies to manifest the world that you want, which often for people is, how do I make money so I can actually have the power to be able to do all this stuff? learn about AI, learn about crypto, learn about this new world that's being made, understand how this transition is going to happen, and then if you're an investor, invest in things that are forward-looking, right? If you're somebody who's been buying bonds, you know what happened to bonds. If you're somebody who's been buying stocks, you know what's happening to stocks. If you're somebody who's been buying shitcoin cryptos, there's like proper stuff coming out. Learn how to move forward into this direction without, being scared of it. And then the other thing is, like, I genuinely believe you got to have food security, you got to have water security, you got to have community security. So that's why we have a farm. We have enough food to feed 1,000 people, naturally growing out of the side of a mountain. That we don't have to do anything except we just sprinkle, compost everywhere just for funsies. We have water, we have houses, we have everything necessary for us to be comfy no matter what happens in the world, right? And then beyond that, just do the best that you can right here, right now, and know that you did the best that you can. Because you can't do better than the best that you can do. So once you do the best that you can, trust that the universe is going to take you where it's going to take you, and there's nothing ever wrong with it.
I'm going to go to the farm at some point. I'm going to visit.
You gotta
For
come
sure.
check it out. Especially now, my house finally finished. Now we have two other friends that are building their houses.
Yeah.
And then we got another third one coming up. So we're now starting this process of actually building out the whole, for lack of a better word, community.
Yeah. Amazing. And there's so many of these communities happening too. Yeah. So join a community. Yeah. Find the right people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, in these times, there's that adage, right? The panda, the big panda asked small dragon, is it the destination or the journey that matters? And small dragon's like, it's the company, right? So it's who you're with.
Oh.
It's who you're with, right? So just figure out the community and figure out who you align with.
And I honestly just got the idea to say that. Let me know if you're down with this. Anyone who's watching this and wants to come here and visit this and experience this, reach out to me or Sim, and we can have a chat with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we're going to be holding retreats
Yeah.
to actually show people the amazing life that is here and also experience the revolutionary processes to take you through, to show you your internal states and potentially show you external states.
Yeah. To help you go from like fear and scarcity to abundance and love, basically. That's maybe the simplest way of saying it. But raise your consciousness and being able to move into this new paradigm that Sim and I are talking about. Yeah, because there is a major world transition happening right now.
And you get to visit Bali and have fun.
Yeah, and meet amazing people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
what else are we going through?
So it's important to start a company and fund your crypto through there.
Yeah.
What if
what
if people aren't able to do that?
Yeah. So
are they going to be okay? Or
really don't take everything that I'm saying as like every person has to do that. Like I said, you got to know yourself. For a lot of people, that might not be the right thing to do. For a lot of people, that might be the right thing to do. But you have to go through the process of learning what is the right thing to do for you. Right? That's why you need consultants and friends and people who can actually guide you through that entire process, like yourself. Right? So work with somebody who knows what is going on and who can take you through this process. I do that. You do that. There's many people doing this. Right? Ideally, be able to do it yourself and somebody to guide you through that process, and then figure out, is a company worthwhile, or is do I move to Bali and get a farm?
Yeah. Do you sell everything and move here like we did? It was actually the most freeing experience of my life.
Isn't it great?
For sure.
Selling
all my stuff.
You know that moment when everything's sold and you're sitting there with nothing?
God. It's like pure peace.
I literally felt like the shackles came off of me.
Me too.
You know?